Seahawks football is brought to you by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Well, what is next is the last game of the 2017 preseason. And here, Marshawn Lynch, the former Seahawk, now a member of the Oakland Raiders, and his mother, Mama Lynch, lighting the flame to get this thing kicked off here. And there's Marshawn. Not going to play tonight. A familiar scene if you've seen him around during the preseason. But he's not the only guy that's not going to play tonight. The Seahawks have 27 players already scratched in this lineup. The Raiders have approximately 30, we are told, who will not play tonight. But nonetheless, this is the last game of the preseason, and an important one for many young players who are looking for backup roles, really, if you look at it there, Brock. And, you know, when you take a look at the depth and find the deepest spots and where the deepest competition is, nowhere stands out as much as that wide receiver slot.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The wide receivers are loaded, and the guys that are going to be distributed to them tonight are both going to play an awful lot, and that's going to be Trevon Boykin and Austin Davis. Trevon was your player to watch, you know, in the pregame show, because he came off great success in L.A. He struggled handling that success, and he came coming off failure. Last week was not good enough. It's opened up the competition. He will start the game tonight. He's got to play well, because Austin Davis isn't giving him anything. He's been in a lot of organizations. He loves it here, and those two are going to get a ton of run. And I think this is a wide open job, and a lot of it's going to be determined over the next 60 minutes.
And to be clear, those two guys play quarterback. My bad.
Yes,
my bad. All right, yeah, let's talk about the pass rush right now. When you want to take a look at it defensively, you know, that's a spot where when the Seahawks are winning, that's as deep as it is on this team.
Once in a generation, were Michael Bennett's words after that Super Bowl. That's what they had on that D-line group because of the rotation, because of the numbers that they had. And Cassius Marsh has been a stud, and he's going to look around. In fact, I ran into Cassius in the elevator. I said, where is everybody? Cliff, Michael, Frank, there are a lot of guys down tonight not going to play. So that means Cassius Marsh, that means David Bass, that means a lot of the depth gets a chance to shine. This league wants pass rushers. There is a need for speed in the NFL. Seahawks are fortunate they've got it 1, 2, and 3 deep at times.
All right, so we mentioned earlier the Seahawks 3-0 right now in the preseason. If they win tonight, this will be the third perfect preseason in the 8 years that Pete Carroll's been here. And a lot of teams talk about, we don't really care about what happens with the preseason as long as they're healthy, obviously. But winning is important for Pete Carroll.
It sure is. And you go back to those undefeated seasons with he and Russ, look at them. 2012, 2013, and they blew people out of the water. It just wasn't competitive in many spots. And if Alex Collins doesn't fumble week 2, that game's 27-6 against Minnesota to handle the Chiefs a week ago. There's a lot to like in this preseason, and Pete would love nothing more than to do what they did in 2012 and 2013 and run the table.
And so the Oakland Raiders have won the toss. Blair Walsh, who's had a really good preseason, his first campaign with the Seahawks, set to kick things off. George Atkinson, the third grandson of the Raider legend, back deep. And these are two teams that obviously during the regular season expect big things, and so that's why you won't see a lot of familiar names when you take a look and say you can't tell the players without a program. That may not be enough tonight.
And a warm night. Almost unseasonably warm in some ways. A perfect night for these young guys to get loose and get to hitting.
Atkinson muffs that one, scoops it up at the 7-yard line, and that's trouble. Had absolutely nowhere to go. Delano Hill among the Seahawks in there to make the tackle. And we talked about the starters that will not play tonight. That includes Derek Carr, who is their stellar quarterback, second highest paid quarterback in the league. Instead, it's E.J. Manuel, who they picked up from the Buffalo Bills right before his game.
And what you can expect is two series, back and forth with Connor Cook. 4th rounder a year ago, thrown in the fire in a playoff game was Connor. E.J. Manuel also thrown in the fire in Buffalo. Started early, didn't have the career he wanted there. He in competition with Connor for that backup spot, and you will see both of them play immensely tonight.
So after the trouble with the kickoff, Raiders started at the 11-yard line. E.J. Manuel, first pass, caught by Keon Hatcher, and a couple of moves later, he's got a nice pickup. 8 yards on the play.
That's DeAndre Elliott playing nickel tonight, right? This is not the ones, obviously. It's mostly all twos. It looks like the frontline starters in every position group defensively are wearing some ball caps tonight, but this is a big night for DeAndre. He's trying to make his mark on that nickel position. Jeremy Lane has it. DeAndre wants to be the number 2.
Second and short. Manuel with the handoff. John Crockett Crockett lost the football. Seahawks have scooped it up and go the other way. Fighting for the extra yard as that ball came out. And I'm trying to see who scooped that up there. Made the recovery. Terrence Garvin.
Well, he set the table down in L.A. week 1, right? It was his collision and his finish there on the interception. Michael Wilhoit with the collision, and Terrence was Johnny on the spot, right time, right place, with a huge takeaway to kick off this preseason. And with a whole lot of young guys around him, the veteran there who's had a nice camp, I guess he'd be the one starter, right, at that strong side linebacker position. His buddies next to him, Wagner, KJ are out. But takeaways is the name of the game. You could see the unblocked Seahawks defenders there. Scoop and score.
Well, he tried.
Did so with a lot of helmets and a lot of blue helmets around the football.
Well, we saw, as you mentioned, Garvin do that week 1 of the preseason against the Chargers. Took the interception, ran it all the way back for the touchdown, and this time scoops up the fumble, takes it inside the 10-yard line, and looks like we're going to have a review, as they do with all turnovers and scores, just to make sure.
The Raiders, over the years, as we've done this game, Kurt, they sit as many starters as anybody in the league.
Yeah.
Right, over the last few years, they just simply do not play. And Pete, actually, the last couple of years, Russell Wilson and Bobby and those guys, as those cuts have been made from 90 to 75, you've seen some of the starters. But Jack Del Rio has followed suit. A number of the starters are on ice. I think that's advantage the Terrence Garvins, Bradley McDougald's, some of the veteran players that you have in.
Right before the next to last game, they lose Derek Carr, broken leg, and it was just all downhill after that.
What's interesting about him is, so it's almost the inverse of Brian Billick, who was such an offensive guy in Minnesota and set all the records, and then went to Baltimore and inherited a fantastic defense and really changed his game. Jack Del Rio in Jacksonville is a defensive guy, always been a defensive guy, and he's got an offensive-led team here in Oakland.
From our replay, the ball appears to be knocked out by Nico Thorpe before.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Seattle.
And so that's the way it stands. Nico Thorpe forces the fumble. Terrence Garvin picks it up. Seahawks ball inside the 10-yard line. Great field position. First time they've got the ball, less than a minute into this football game. And we talked about starters not starting. Unless you're an offensive lineman, you pretty much have the night off for the Seahawks. Trevon Boykin gets the start in place of Russell Wilson. There's Chris Carson. Cuts it back inside. And the rookie who has been so impressive this preseason fights his way for a short gain of about 4 yards.
You will hear often on any broadcast, put your foot in the ground and go. Right? You've heard it for years and years and years, and in the Denver Broncos, I think, initially making it famous. And you can teach all the guys, and that can be in your running back room, but then there are some that just do it more naturally, and then some that do it a whole lot quicker, and that's what Chris does. And does not look like much, but like it's been all preseason, that pile is going forward when 32 gets his touches.
He's in the backfield with Boykin.
This could come his way on a pass.
The other way, Nick Van Eck, the tight end. And Van Eck dragged down at the 3-yard line.
And he had it both sides here. I expect Trevon to have a whole lot of space to play in tonight. Darrell Bevel, offensive coordinator, is going to put him in a position to have the most success, and that is when the formation empties. That's when there is air around him to really pick his spot. Had Carson a little under route to the short side of the field, picks Vanette, sets up now a 3rd down with the whole playbook open to you.
3rd and goal, inside the 4. Empty backfield, quick pass, tipped. And that one's intercepted. It looked like it was incomplete. Okay, it is incomplete. Denico Autry.
And I like the decisiveness there with Boykin. He does not hesitate. That's been one of the challenges, Kurt, through this preseason training camp as well, is just holding the ball a little bit longer, wanting to see things develop. That's a quick bang-bang play, an inside slant there. Defensive line gets their hands up. Forces Blair to do what he's done perfectly this preseason.
His only miss was from 53 yards out. That first kick against the Vikings, his former team. This one from 21 yards away. And just like that, the Seahawks able to take advantage of the turnover and put points on the board. Just under 2.5 minutes into this final preseason game, Seattle on top 3-0. Presented by Washington's Lottery. Play Seahawks Fever Scratch from Washington's Lottery. Catch the best fever this season. Go to walottery.com for details. Terrence Garvin recovering the fumble and leading to the first points of the ball game.
Yeah, there's other young guys that's going to be in that huddle with Terrence tonight, Bradley McDougald, that are going to fight that issue of, man, I want to cut it loose, but I want to make sure I do the right thing. When you've got NFL experience, starting experience in the league, as Garvin has, and McDougald has, and we've seen these, David Bass has, those nerves are gone tonight, and you just want to put on a show. A question for you, Kurt. Why did Wyman say that Blair Walsh just looks like a kicker? What does that mean?
He's tiny. I think that's pretty evident, isn't it?
He wasn't buying when I said, yeah, he might be small, but he's kind of ripped up. And Wyman just gave me that linebacker look like he was about ready to hit me.
He's small, but he's wiry. There he is to kick it off. George Atkinson, the third, from the goal line. Runs into the pile, doesn't get far. Going to be stopped just before he gets to the 25-yard line. Trey Madden with the stop. And special teams is one of those areas we'll keep an eye on tonight, as the Seahawks, like everybody else, have to get their roster down from 90 players in this final preseason game to 53 by 1 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday. From the 24, E.J. Manuel at quarterback. Rolling out. Incomplete. Big hit laid out. Bradley McDougald.
It's a perfect example.
The former Seahawk intended receiver.
Perfect example, once again, of a couple guys that have seen this play, that know this play. Cassius Marsh is not fooled by the play action. He keeps his contained. Bradley McDougald, likewise, and two phenomenal tackles. They started this preseason tackling well down in Los Angeles, and you just can't do it better than that. Look at the strike zone of both Cassius Marsh and Bradley McDougald, the same spot coming right through those offensive players.
After the incompletion, second down. Handoff taken by Crockett. Runs right to the pile. Absolutely nowhere to go. David Bass in there on the tackle. You know, we talked a little bit about him on the pregame. 5th year in the National Football League. Drafted by the Oakland Raiders in the 7th round, but then played in Chicago, played with the Titans, and has really been a bit of a surprise here so far in training camp.
Yeah, maturity comes at different times in the league. And sometimes you get married, you have a young kid, you hit the free agent market as he did last year, and he felt like he would find a home quicker. He did not. And kind of like Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill did years ago, they looked around and said, where's going to be then the best position for me to have success on a one-year deal? He lands here, and his versatility is why I think he's going to land on this 53-man roster.
Seahawks trying to stop the Raiders before they get to the 34. Manuel under pressure. Bass wraps him up. Once again, Marcus Smith finished him off, but Bass was the first guy to get there and showing what he can do with a pass rush.
This is going to be a difficult matchup for this Oakland offensive line, for the backup offensive line. The Oakland ones are as good as anybody in the league with the Cowboys, but the twos are not. And when it's Jaron Reed and it's Bass and it's Cassius Marsh and it's these guys that really aren't second stringers, right? Not in this rotation and not on this team. Right? With as much as they like to rotate that defensive line, and they've made the Raiders feel that the first two opening series.
J.D. McKissick back deep to take this punt for Marquette King. Nice booming kick by King. McKissick. Stopped right between first and second base. Seahawks will take it over for the second time tonight, up by a field goal. Well, the 12s that are in attendance here happy because the Seahawks are on top 3-0, ready to take it over for the second time tonight. And, you know, we've all watched the devastation down in Southeast Texas. and want to know what we can do, of course, you can always text Harvey to 90999 from your phone just to donate $10 to the American Red Cross Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund. But if you're a fan in Seattle and you want to come to the home opener on September 17th against the 49ers, volunteers will be collecting cash donations for that. All donations go directly to American Red Cross Hurricane Harvey relief efforts.
It's just been incredible, hasn't it, to watch a country just unify and people gather together to see what J.J. Watt has done down in Houston and the impact that pros like Russell, like the Seahawks, like this organization can have.
Lots of contributions coming from the general public, from players, and as you say, this devastation really unifying us at a time that we could use it. Boykin, scramble, gets out of bounds. Using his legs to try and make a difference between himself and Austin Davis, and you talk about those two guys battling right now to back up Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and you've seen 4 snaps now in the 3 different passes, and the sense of urgency from week to week is changed. Holding the ball, overthrowing last week, just not sharp, and he's coming out right away, decisive. Doesn't have it, he's going to run.
Kind of going back to his natural instinct, what he did as a rookie in the preseason. Here's a rookie right here, Chris Carson.
But I think you get to this moment in your final interview here. I think that's sound counsel, is to do what you do best. And Chris Carson and all these young guys that you just want to simplify the game and really trust your talent and what's put you in this position. It's what Pete always, in his messaging to the guys, does not change in that way. You're here for a reason because we believe in your talent. And you go out and do what you do best.
C.J. Preseason in the backfield now. Missed the last couple of weeks with an injury and flags down before the ball was snapped.
It's going to be a Fetty, I believe.
False start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
There's Clay Martin, who's the referee tonight. Normally during the season, he's an umpire, but they try and train officials at different positions during the preseason, just in case they need him to switch during the regular season.
Smart.
So he's the referee tonight, and there you see Darrell Bevel asking for some help somewhere.
Well, it makes it a much more difficult call. 3rd and 6, plenty of things available. 3rd and 11, much more challenging.
Boykin will work from the shotgun. Floated that one out of bounds. Amara Darboh, the 3rd-round pick out of Michigan, the nearest Seahawk to that one.
And Trevon, so much success down in Los Angeles throwing that ball, but those were one-on-one situations. That time, that zone coverage, a safety is sitting right over the top of Amaro. That cloud coverage, there was really no window, no opportunity. And that speaks to 3rd and 11 versus 3rd and 6.
Here's John Ryan. Mr. Consistency back to punt. Did have one block last week that worked out in the Seahawks' favor when they recovered it because it didn't cross the line of scrimmage. But he gets that one off cleanly. Flag down as well, as that one stops a bit short. Ryan not happy.
During the kick, holding number 34, the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down.
We mentioned Pete Carroll now in his 8th season, 21-10 as a preseason record.
Yeah, I think it matters to him. And it matters because this league has become one of attrition. And he knows it. He knows in that Super Bowl that Earl Thomas played with one arm and Cam with the knee injury, and they lose Cliff Averill in that game. And the challenge, the dynamics in that game and with your depth, and knows that these games are important for their evaluation, for running and hitting, doing things you just don't get to do as much of in practice.
Connor Cook now in quarterback for the Raiders. And he hands it off to George Atkinson. Breaks a tackle. Demetrius McCray had a shot at him, but missed him in the backfield. In the end, winds up picking up a couple yards before the tackle was made.
We were told before the game it'd be 2 series at a time for E.J. Manuel and for Connor Cook coming in. 4th rounder. He is not going to impress you in pregame. The arm strength for a big guy, and he's 6'4" and 225 pounds, does not have anywhere near the arm strength of E.J. Manuel or Carr, the first stringer. But he's better when the lights go on. He was at Michigan State, the all-time leading winning quarterback there with the Spartans, led him to big bowl games. He's got to be sharp tonight.
4th-round pick last year out of Michigan State. Here's Atkinson again. Dances a little bit too much. Did fall forward for enough for the first down, however.
And unlike that playoff game against Houston last year, and these pros will tell you, and I never played in a playoff game, but I played preseason games and regular season games, and the speed notches up in every one of those steps. And for Connor to go on the road and play that defense on the road, this should be a whole lot slower tonight.
Remember, they were the #1 ranked defense at the end of the regular season, were the Texans. And he got to face them in their building in the playoffs. It's like, maybe not. First down here. Cook. A pass gets out there. Keon Hatcher makes the catch, forced out of bounds by Demetrius McCray.
And it doesn't matter how fast the fastball is if it comes out of your hand on time. And we've learned that through the years with lots of different quarterbacks. It's just man-to-man, a little out route there on Demetrius McCray, and it's thrown on time, on rhythm, and that's what he is. He has to be a timing and rhythm quarterback with anticipation. But he has also played a ton of ball. 3.5-year starter there at Michigan State. According to the Raiders folks, even an uphill battle with E.J. Manuel for that #2 spot.
7 yards on that reception. 2nd and 3. Atkinson again. This one stretched out. Seahawks sniffed that one. Deshae Palacio along with Marcus Smith right there. Now, the ball came out. The question is, was he down? Yes, he was. So we'll set up 3rd down.
Just watch the pursuit. The defensive coordinator one time, I love the way he coined it. He called it the camera club. And when you're watching tape at the end of the play, how many helmets get into that picture? And just look at the overall pursuit. And he is not down. Yeah, they're going to stop this and take another look. I think there's no
red
body
challenge
part
flag
that
is
is
out.
down as that ball was coming out.
Pete Carroll's already thrown the challenge flag to take another look at this.
And it looks like immediate recovery as well by the Seahawks going to be the key here, as it was not called a fumble on the field. But that camera club and just getting those helmets to the football with tremendous pursuit. And you see it done picture perfect there by the Seahawk defense.
Well, it looks like they're debating whether or not they call forward progress, because if they blew the whistle to stop it with forward progress, you can't challenge whether or not it was a fumble. Let's see what Clay Martin says. Trying to read his lips. That's what it looked like.
Seattle is challenging the rule on the field that the runner was down before the ball came out.
So he confirmed that it was not called because of forward progress. I think that's what he was checking with his other officials to see. He asked the question. They told him it wasn't. He was called tackled, and you can see that ball was out.
Yeah, very clear. And that's Palacio, who's been 3rd leading tackler in preseason here, and all he does is get to the right spot. He's the first guy in, much like Nico Thorpe earlier. That knee is not down. He's on top of Palacio. I think that is pretty obvious, and here is a clear recovery now by the Seahawks on the other end. Marcus Smith also coming in, been very active the last 2 weeks. Preseason started with a bang, lots of takeaways. It made it a rout down in Los Angeles. It looks like it should be the 2nd takeaway for the Seahawks, putting them in a very favorable position once again.
Yeah, overall, the Seahawks defense had 5 turnovers the first 3 weeks, 4 of them coming in that opener against the Chargers. None against Minnesota, and then just 1 last week, but they've got, apparently, if this challenge works out for the Seahawks, it'll be 2 here in this first quarter.
And Kurt, this is one area where I'd be a little concerned with the Raiders. You look at a lot of their numbers last year, especially defensively. They were last in the league in yards per play against. They were last in the league in sacks. Now, they were the #1 turnover margin in the NFL, and that can offset a lot of things. But I think as we have learned in Seattle, those don't always come in bunches, stay in bunches over the course of seasons. They got 30 of them a year ago. It helped them to get to plus 16, the best margin in the league. But to count on those year in and year out is a dangerous recipe.
That's the look of a guy who you think kind of knows the answer. Oh man, I fumbled, but I'm just hoping that they don't see what I saw.
I'll say it again as people get frustrated watching this, having to put on the stripes for the Georgia spring game and doing it was a great experience for me to be an official. This is, where is the ball out? What is the time on the clock? Where exactly, was that clear recovery? There's just a lot of mechanics there. And remember, this is an umpire, not used to that level of communication and walking and talking through all of the mechanics that come into play.
And knowing also he's going to be graded on this, and it will help determine his future if he wants to be a referee, so he wants to get all the mechanics
So you're
correct.
saying he's a young guy, want to get it right?
Exactly. This is what that final preseason game is for. In case you hadn't seen many preseason games at all this year, they have moved the replay onto the field. They'll look at the tablets, the referee will, but the call actually will be made back in New York by the officiating crew there. They will say whether or not the play should stand or be overturned, and then it's up to the referee inside each respective stadium to then mark it and take care of the clock.
And I don't think either head coach is enamored with how long this is taking.
Well, it was supposed to speed things up by having it on the field, wasn't it? All right, so Clay Martin looks like he's got it all sorted out. Here comes the call.
After review, the ball did come out prior to the runner coming down. However, there was no clear recovery. It will be Oakland ball, third down. Seattle will be charged their first time out.
So the Seahawks will lose it because, as you said, it's a two-part decision. Was it a fumble, and was there a clear recovery? And Pete knows that his guys in the booth saw the replays that we saw, where it appeared to be a pretty clear recovery. So Pete not happy about that.
And he's fighting for his players right here. I mean, that's what this is about. Right? We teach you all the fundamentals here in all the work that they put into it. The ball is clearly out. Clay even addressed that.
There's the ball. There's a pretty clear recovery. But, it goes back to, and we talked about it week one, on the road against the Chargers. Preseason games are different because each team has their own broadcast, and the home broadcast feed is what the officials see. So the Raiders replays may not have shown a clear recovery. And if it didn't, they weren't allowed to overturn it. But from what we were able to see with our cameras, the Seahawks did recover it for sure. Here's Cook. That pass. Thrown a little too quickly. Intended for K.J. Brent. Delano Hill on the coverage. And it's 4th and 3.
But I love Coach's reaction there, and good coverage there by Delano as well. I love Coach Carroll's reaction there. It's a 4th preseason game, but I'm going to fight for these guys that are on that field as hard as I would fight for Richard Sherman and the rest of them. They're doing the drills. They're doing all the work, all the things that we're teaching them, and the guy's flying to the football and so much pursuit. He wants to see it paid off. That's the essence of his program, is that ball. That's why I think he was so frustrated with that end result.
Another big kick from King. High. McKissick calls for the fair catch. Makes it at the 13-yard line. So things don't quite work out the way Pete Carroll and the Seahawks wanted it. They were hoping for the turnover. They don't get it. But nonetheless, they've got the ball for the third time tonight here in this first quarter. Sun setting over the Bay Area tonight. Just over midway through this opening quarter, the preseason finale. And you know what, Brock? We were talking about it yesterday. If you haven't been to Oakland in a while, this city's a lot different than it used to be. Revitalization going on. They're lovingly calling it Brooklyn West, kind of trying to mimic what happened there in New York. But they've done a fine job so far. Unfortunately, they're going to be losing the football team in a couple of years. But this city, certainly the downtown area,
The Golden State Warriors have certainly energized it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Something to hang your hat on. We talk so often about how sports can energize and revitalize the community, and I think that you saw that with the success the Warriors have had the last couple of years and how it's worn off on the people of Oakland. Boykin is still in the quarterback for the Seahawks from the 14. Off the play fake. With time, pass, caught. Kason Williams. Is there anything he hasn't grabbed this preseason? 20 yards on that reception.
It's been the vertical game, and that's where his height and his bounce have really come into play. But he's a complete receiver. And with that big body, more than willing to come across the field. It's one of those deep play action passes. I'd like to see Boykin get it out of his hand a little quicker. Kason had cut open across the other side of the field. Boykin wanted to see it before he fired, ultimately moves the chains.
Under pressure, Boykin tries to escape, throws it while he's falling. Kenny Lawler with the catch. There's a flag down in the secondary as well. Boykin wasn't probably the best advised throw, but it wound up working out.
And what a block by Chris Carson as well. His running back there, a nickel pressure that Trevon did not see.
Holding defense number 91. That penalty is declined. First down.
Here comes the pressure. It's going to come off the slot. Trevon does not see it, and Chris Carson sure does. And that is what Boykin does best. He is best in his improvising and his creativity. His eyes never deviate from going down the field. Tremendous play.
Here's the handoff. Carson bouncing off of people. Down to the 35-yard line.
And I'm going to tell you what, Kurt. As good as that run, or he may break off another 15 or 25-yard run, what is going to stand out to Chad Morton, his running back coach, and to Darrell Bevel, and to the quarterback and Russell Wilson is a great eyes, man. Way to scan across your protection to come across and pick up that blitz. Otherwise, Boykin is hit in the back. And who knows what happens with the football. That is a rookie that has shown time and again in any phase that he's ahead of the curve.
A big physical runner with speed. Boykin lost that one out. Tanner McAvoy drops it. Incomplete.
That's just Tanner trying to do a little something before securing the reception. But one thing that always stood out in watching tape, it does at the collegiate level for me, and it did at the professional level, is when you get running backs that want to pass protect. And I think of Marshawn Lynch. I think of Adrian James. You know, I think of the Clinton Portis. And they just want to snap guys' helmets, right? When those linebackers and safety blitz, they didn't want to duck away from it. They wanted to make their point, and you make an impression around the league and to your coaches as well.
Carson has certainly done that. He takes a breather, Precise comes in. Boykin up top. Defender fell down, and that's an easy touchdown. Just like that, Rodney Smith. His first score in the preseason as a Seahawk. His first catch in the preseason as a Seahawk.
Well, there's one thing these wide receivers love, and they tell it to quarterbacks all the time, man, just give me a chance. And a tough pickup there. It's not what you want to see from Mafedi and Glowinski on the right side. That stunt once again beats them. But wide receivers tell their QBs, give me a chance, especially big body guys like Rodney Smith. Let me fight for you. You never know. I may just come down with it, my ball, nobody's ball, and his first touchdown in the preseason.
Dexter McDonald fell down, making it easy for a 34-yard score. Seahawks adding to the lead. Rodney Smith, nice first catch, young fella. Well, Rodney Smith spent most of the offseason working with the Seahawks, but on and off the roster during training camp. Hadn't caught a pass the first 3 weeks. Now makes his first grab and gives the Seahawks a 10-0 lead after Boykin just kind of does his thing.
And Darbo has a go route earlier, and it's cover 2. So you have a safety over the top. There's no window. This time Boykin knows it's a single safety, and I'm just going to give my guy an opportunity. And if the corner, McDonald, doesn't fall down, there's probably not enough air on it, and Smith's going to have to fight to make that an incompletion. But instead, corner falls down, and that feels good. You could see the teammates during the break there come over to him and celebrate, a bunch of the veteran guys. Because as you said, man, there's a lot of work that these guys put into this final moment for them, possibly in a Seahawks uniform. And Boykin doing what Boykin does.
Yeah.
Just creative, right? I mean, the scramble, he's in the grasp, he's going down, but he's just got the football sense to keep the eyes up. He can flush a bad series here, he can flush a bad series there, and just come back. use his creativity.
Here's George Atkinson. Takes the kick from Blair Walsh. And he stopped inside the 20-yard line. And before we put Boykin to rest here, I mean, that's just kind of what gives everybody hope. It's like he makes those plays that you don't expect a quarterback not named Russell Wilson to make in this offense. Now, the consistency has been the question.
That's right. Off schedule. You can make the off schedule play. Heck, Russell made a living on that in 2012 and 13, holding onto the ball and making those plays outside of the rhythm. But you ultimately also want to see him in rhythm. You know, check it down or throw that deep in cut on time. Those are the next steps in the process.
Blitz coming. George Atkinson bounces it outside. And Atkinson gets out there before Cache Palacio makes another open field tackle. Gain of 11 on the play, though. First down, Oakland. As we get inside the 4-minute mark of this fourth and final game of the preseason. Raiders 0-3. Seahawks 3-0. If you're counting preseason records. From the 29, Atkinson dancing. Bradley McDougal there in the backfield, coming up from the safety spot to make the tackle. We talked about all the young guys that are competing for playing time. McDougal, not a young guy, was a starter the last 2 years for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, one of those veteran guys that they have on defense this year that will be playing key backup positions.
He's just been in the right spot. I mean, you go out and you watch him practice, and he's the one that's helping the younger guys and a real asset in this huddle tonight in the first half, which I assume he'll get a lot of run. You've been there and you've started in the regular season. These are the games that you should flourish and shine in.
Cook throws that too wide, incomplete. KJ Brent, the intended receiver. Nico Thorpe right there with him, but the ball just a misconnection, misfire from Cook.
I love what Brian Schneider, the special teams coach, said about Nico Thorpe. Just sheer toughness. Just one of those gunners going down the field that the Seahawks have had so many good ones. Ricardo Lockett was right there at the top, and he was the best. And they've got a lot of guys in that spot that are hungry, and it just shows his toughness. Forces the fumble on the opening series. It's right in the receiver there, making him uncomfortable coming out of break. Tough corner.
Raiders need the 39 for the first. Here comes the pressure. Oh, that one flagged down on the play as well. Not quite sure exactly what happened there. Pierre Desir coming in. Marcus Smith was putting pressure on and
holding offense number 71. That penalty is declined. Fourth down.
So what happens there, Kurt, is you've got a two-way go as a wide receiver, and you have got to be on the same page with the quarterback reading the safeties. As you see the number 2 O-line having a hard time with this front four of Seattle. And if that receiver and the quarterback see safety over the top, you're going to break that route off. If you got the single safety and you can take it deep, you go deep. So that's quarterback, wide receiver not being on the same page with the coverage the Seahawks throw on third down.
Third punt of the night for King. McKissick on the run this time. Good return for McKissick. Mr. Versatility, what do you call him, the Swiss Army knife?
There you go.
Showing what he could do.
16 yards. And don't discount those. Right, the ability to read this thing. Right? The younger guys may let that bounce, let it go. He comes up, he fields it on the run, puts his foot in the ground like a good running backs do, make that first wave miss. And those are valuable, valuable yards. Tyler Lockett has shown that. Went to a Pro Bowl as a rookie because of it. How critical it is if you want to play defense and you want to run the ball. And he is by far right now in this roster outside of Tyler the most natural in that phase.
It's a really good field position starting at the 42-yard line for Boykin. CJ Prosise. Oh, he doesn't get far at all. Just his second carry of the preseason. Probably not one he's proud of. Xavier Woodson-Luster locked him up right at the line of scrimmage. Welcome back, CJ.
Kind of looked like only his second carry. Just a little hesitation right there. Right, and that's just trusting that first cut. Chris Carson, right, trusting that first cut, boom, getting those shoulder pads north and south and moving it forward. Versus when you haven't been in there for a few weeks, things are quite a blur.
Precise again. Slips this time, falls forward for a couple of yards, but missed the last couple of weeks with a knee injury and been battling that. Just wanted to get some action tonight. He's got back-to-back carries, but not much production.
You know how hungry he is.
Yeah.
He is a young player himself, but he came on the scene, had 2 brilliant games against Philly and New England. And he's watched Chris Carson make a name for himself at that position in camp. Looks like his feet are moving a little faster than normal.
Here's Boykin. Locked in that one up and it's picked off. Shalom Luani, the former Washington State Cougar, gets the interception. That was a simple misfire from Boykin. And we talked about it a second ago, consistency.
It's a pretty good pocket here. Right, he gets hit at the end. That's going to happen when you're holding the ball for a few seconds. There is nothing there. Cardinals send the football late down the middle. You know, threw a pick in the opener against Los Angeles, deep down the middle, not seeing the safety. And good for you, Shalom Luani. Been one of the stories of camp and talking to the Raiders brass. 7th round pick out of Washington State. And that's one Boykin you just got to eat. You got to throw into the stands, protect the football. Now the 3rd giveaway for Trevon this preseason.
And A.J. Manuel back in at quarterback for the Raiders. Pass incomplete, no flags on the play. Ryan O'Malley, the intended receiver. Shea Palacio, another Washington State Cougar there on the coverage. You okay rooting for all these Cougars?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Once they put on the Seahawks uniform, then the rivalry disappears. Is that what you're saying?
How about a couple defenders in a Mike Leach air raid system? I'm glad to hear from the Raiders folks how good at camp, just how natural a player Luani has been all through camp. Pays it off with the turnover.
Manuel overthrows everybody on that one. Penalty markers down, however. Mike Davis, or make that Demetrius McCray, there on the coverage. And he's going to get called for putting his hands on the receiver too early.
Defense number 39. Automatic first down.
Yeah, but you saw Andre Curtis over there, the secondary coach, actually give him a little bit of a high five. And I think it's because you stay on top. That is what is preached more than anything else. You stay on top. That's not a penalty in the regular season. I mean, DB wins, force the wide receiver to the boundary.
I agree with you.
I mean, I think in different crews are going to call it differently. We've seen that throughout the regular season. But the high five is for the technique, maybe a little extra contact.
Manuel dumps that one off. Crockett out of the backfield. Another big hit. This time is Dexter McDonald. Or Dewey McDonald, pardon me. We had Dexter McDonald for the Raiders and Dewey McDonald here for the Seahawks.
Bomea wins. Some of those linebackers, and you've seen it through the years, right? That are, when they list Dewey, it's 6 foot. I don't know if he's quite there. But they salivate when those running backs catch that little angle route underneath them, and they can come deliver that kind of blow. But the 5th hard hit, when you Seahawks are knocking the Raiders backwards tonight.
Here's Crockett again. Picks up about a yard on the play. Quentin Jefferson makes the tackle. Getting down to the final seconds of the first quarter. The Seahawks got a turnover early to get a field goal, and then they got an easy touchdown. Boykin to Rodney Smith. Those are the points so far. Seattle trying to make it a 4-0 preseason. They're 1/4 of the way there. Up 10-0. Seahawks football is presented by Washington's Lottery and Seahawks Fever Scratch. You can win $50 grand or 2018 season tickets for 2. Go to WALottery.com for details. 3 quarters left in this preseason finale for 2017. Only touchdown tonight scored by Rodney Smith. Raiders Right now in Seattle territory with the ball at the 43-yard line on third down.
Man-to-man.
And a flag down.
Wide receiver flinching. That's an easy one for the linesman to see, I believe, in front of him.
It's no longer called a linesman, by the way.
False start.
Oh.
Offense number 16. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
It's on Johnny Holton. And what used to be the head linesman is now the down judge.
Oh.
New name for a new year.
How about the guy across from him? Head linesman's always with the chains. Are they both considered?
Oh, then you get the side judge.
Oh.
We're going to quiz each other in officials' positions.
Nope, and now you get 3rd and 9.
Here's Manuel under pressure. Gets it off, but probably not the results he wants. John Crockett wrapped up immediately by Dewey McDonald.
A little chess match that I always love in a game, offense and defense. 3rd downs typically are where those coordinators make their money. And it's 3rd and 9. Oakland is anticipating a possible zone look so they can run that screen pass and get it out. Instead, Seahawks bring pressure man-to-man. Dewey has got his target set. And he, like a lot of his buddies tonight, have finished. I mean, Pete, in that first quarter, the first 16, 17 minutes of this game, has to be thrilled with the way his team has once again run, hit, and finished those tackles.
Here's McKissick. Calls for the fair catch.
J.D. McKissick with the fair catch.
Early on in the second quarter, Seahawks looking to try and finish off the preseason in the right way. And if you joined us late and you think, well, I missed all the starters, not really. 27 Seahawks starters, or 27 Seahawks players, not in the lineup tonight. None of the starters on defense. Look, Michael Bennett's even in street clothes already. Look at that. Michael, how you doing?
Doing good, dressed good too. You like my outfit? Nah, I wish I was out there. I remember when I was a young guy how big the 4th game was and how important it was to make the plays this week. So I'm feeling for all the young guys. Hopefully they make all the plays they know they can.
All right, Michael, before we get to talking about football here, you are from Southeast Texas, the town of Alief, right?
Yeah, I'm from Houston, you know, and with all the stuff going on with the hurricane right now, it's just so crazy seeing everybody being devastated. And I'm doing things right now to help my city, help my people get back on their feet, all the people within the organization, within Houston, everybody down there going through it. So right now, it's crazy right now.
So explain exactly what you're doing. We've got the graphic up showing that you've donated $25,000 to the effort.
Yeah, I'm hoping to work with all the fans and people watching the game to want to work with us and all the things. We're working with Costco, Safeway to get goods and everything that people need, from fingernail products to things for diapers, food, school supplies, all for the kid. And you can donate at thebennettfoundation.org. So that's thebennettfoundation.org. All the money's going to Costco and Safeway to get all the goods and stuff that we need for the community. There's so many different things that everybody needs, but we just try to do the best we can and raise as much money as possible and just help the city. So I'm hoping everybody that watched tonight can make a donation of some sort. So whatever you can to help is a big deal.
So Bennett's donated $25,000. The Seahawks have added $50,000 to the cause. Awesome. And as you said, you can go to bennettfoundation.org to add even more to that total.
What have you heard from your friends and family down there, Michael, that have been through the devastation?
Oh man, everybody's super excited about how everybody's working together. We're through something that's so devastating to have all the people within the city working. So I think people are just like, how are we coming together like this and just working together? And it's just good to see how people are working right now, and people pulling people out of the ocean, people are pulling out the water, people serving people doing rescuing everybody. So everybody the storm is crazy, but the way that people are helping each other is just something that's so special and unique. I think I'm happy to be from a city like that, to see how everybody's working together right now.
And as a defensive lineman, why does it not surprise me, Michael, that it's nuts and bolts, right? You want the food, you want the people to get those resources right into their hands.
We want the resources to get right there. Work with the local charities and organizations within the city that you know that could be affected by it. And you get a chance to see the people that we're working with. You get a chance to see, I know all the people in that area, and I know what they need, and working with hearing back from home and the principals and different shelter leaders, and just to get a chance chance to bring all the products, not just food, but all the things for keep the kids. People forget that people have babies and they need diapers, they need milk, they need all those things that we take for granted right now, and we need to go out there and help our people.
And what's it mean to your organization stepping up, Michael? They've had your back in so many different ways. I think they offer you guys such tremendous support, and now they're doubling your efforts, contributing. The organization is $50,000. What's that mean to you?
That means everything to have an organization that believes in you and then believes in your city, and just an organization that believes in the community. And we're that organization, and I'm lucky to have great leadership around me, from Pete Carroll to Peter McLaughlin, the president, and just everybody, and Paul Allen. To be able to have everybody coming down and being able to help us is super exciting. And also Safeway, you know, they're stepping up and doing so much within Houston and through me and through the organizations that I'm working with. So it's a blessing to be able to have those.
Well, I think that's a big thing. You talk about the relief going directly to the people to help them with goods and services that I think a lot of times we don't think about, but it also goes back to what you've always preached about helping each other out.
It's always about helping each other out. I think through tragic events, people come together. Right now, everybody's coming together, and to see, no matter where people are from, what they've been through, their job, what school they went to, everybody's working together to save the city and finding a way to contribute in a positive way. And that's the greatest thing about the people right now, and the people within the city showing hope and showing resilience through such a tragic time.
All right, thank you so much for joining us once again. $25,000 donated by Michael Bennett, $50,000 from the Seahawks. If you want to add to that total, just go to bennettfoundation.org and make a donation.
Hey, thank you guys so much, and I appreciate everybody that's watching, and pray for all the families right now.
All right, we will. Thank you so much for all you do, Michael, as well.
Thank you, guys.
All right. And for taking the time to make sure the people at home get a chance to try and see some of the work that these guys do. And we talk so much about this organization and these players and how they really are a family. That's an example of it.
Yeah, it matters. It matters. It matters that 5 players get to go and get treatment this week. You know, outside of the market and whatever the resources are to make these players their very best. And it doesn't surprise me at all to see that unity within the building.
There's Boykin on the keeper here. Picks up the first down. They just needed a couple of yards.
And I'm not surprised to see a little up-tempo. Darrell Bevell told us before the game, Kurt, you're going to see it for both Austin Davis and for Trevon Boykin. Want to put those guys into different game situations, into different game management spots. I think what you're also seeing is after that decision, holding the ball down the field, Darrell getting to more bang-bang reactionary plays. Zone reads, slant routes, get the ball out of Trevon Boykin's hand. The more he can react, typically the better he plays.
First down from the 23. Here's Alex Collins. Collins picks up a yard on the play. And I know he's the guy you talked about earlier in the open, fighting for survival right now.
The guy that was one of the main cogs in the run game throughout the course of a season a year ago that saw so much injury to that position group.
Boykin under pressure, gets it off. Picked off again. Second interception thrown tonight by Boykin. Breon Borders with the pick.
Just boom or bust. You know, we've seen it on this drive in particular, just not seeing that underneath coverage that undercuts. And now the second giveaway by the Seahawks. Know why? Because he's trying to show this team he could score points and touchdowns. But the crumbs lead to the cookie. You have got to take that easy play in front of you.
So the Raiders take over at the 6-yard line. John Crockett with the run. And we talked about Boykin. 2 picks so far in this first half. 4 in this preseason. Not a way to solidify that position as the backup.
And every turnover, and E.J. Manuel knows this as a quarterback, and he made a bunch of them in Buffalo. And Pete Carroll preaches it. I mean, it's the very essence, day one, when you get in that program. And every one of them is unique and different. But both of those tonight really fall in the decision-making and the overall awareness of what you are trying to do as an offense. Both, unfortunately, poor decisions for Trevon after so many good highlight reel-making plays.
K.J. Brent with the catch. Demetrius McCray knocks him out of bounds. Enough for the first down as the chains move out to the 17-yard line. Gain of 8. Well, the Seahawks defense has been able to keep Oakland in check. They fumbled on that first possession and have had 4 punts since then. Deep in their own territory, despite the fact they picked up the first down and movement early before the ball was snapped. Farrell Brown.
Offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Kid out of Oregon.
In some ways, it's a unique picture tonight, Kurt, isn't it? Because you've got Connor Cook and E.J. Manuel on the Raiders side, and they're both playing very conservatively. I mean, they're just not. Connor had one misfire down the field on a misread between he and the wide receiver, but both of them don't want to make a mistake. A punt is okay. I'm going to protect the ball. And on the other side, you've got Austin Davis, who we will see tonight, and Trevon Boykin. And Trevon's like, I don't care. Hair on fire, man. I'm going to run around. I'm going to be a playmaker. I'm going to do what I do. And unfortunately, 2 pretty critical giveaways.
Manuel had that one go through the hands of John Crockett. Lucky that wasn't intercepted.
You got to be careful with those running backs. It better be right in their frame. You put a ball like that, a wide receiver, they're paid to make that catch. You motion those running backs out, you get them on slants or hitches. That is not what they make their living on typically, so you've got to try to keep that in the framework of their radius to catch it.
Especially pass with
that much
not a whole lot of touch. Yeah. A little smoke coming off of it. Here's Manuel. Going the other way. KJ Brent gets the first down. Nico Thorpe there to wrap him up.
That's number 80.
But not before he moved the chains, and there's a late flag down in the secondary. Came from the opposite side of the field. Looked like it was after the play was over. Clay Martin really being tested at their referee spot tonight. Getting his work in.
The result of the play was a reception and a first down. There is no foul for an unnecessary roughness for high contact.
So they pick it up on the other side. And the 18-yard reception will stand. First down from the 31-yard line.
You're going to see a double move here sooner than later. And a little hitch route, a little curl route. At some point here, either EJ or Connor are going to get that call from the sideline and see if Nico and McCray on the other side can continue to be as patient and keep everything in front of them.
John Crockett cuts through. Still fighting. It's about the toughest 5 yards the little man's picked up tonight. Looks like the Seahawks had it sniffed out for a while. Marcus Cromartie eventually stopped him, but good run by Crockett. And there's DeAndre Elliott yet to get up for Seattle. They're looking at that right leg. Well, you never want to see this at all. Certainly not in this preseason finale with a regular season right around the corner. We'll take a break. There you see the concern among the Seahawk players as they bring the card out for DeAndre Elliott. And we're going to show you this one time. You may want to turn away if you're a bit squeamish as we look at the replay and see what happened to that lower right leg. Looks like the ankle here. And he went down, took his helmet off. Right now the entire team coming out onto the field to give him their condolences and wish him well as he is carted off to the locker room. They put an air cast on. It appeared right before they put him on the cart. And there's that unity we talk so often about. Tough to watch. Even some Raider players going over there because they understand you know, certainly you don't want to see anybody ever injured, but they understand the sweat, the effort that's been put into getting to this point, and then to have it go down like that right before the start of the regular season. You can see the air cast on.
Undrafted rookie a year ago that fought his tail off and would not accept no to make this team and roster. And he has been fighting for that nickel spot here. A very competitive camp for him. That fast. We saw with George Fan earlier this preseason. That fast, things can change in this game.
So the Raiders still have it on second down. Here's E.J. Manuel. Out of the pocket. Slips a tackle from Otha Peters and gets the first down.
And Kurt, we saw this with George Fan after that injury, right? As the team just tries to gather and recollect themselves to go out there and just be as free and hitting as they did through the first quarter and a half of this game. And for the first time, EJ's able to slip away from a decent pocket around him. And that's an advantage to him. That's in this competition with Connor Cook for the #2 spot. That has to come to life more for E.J. Manuel. He is capable of making those kind of plays.
Former first-round pick of the Buffalo Bills. Hands it off to John Crockett. Caught in the backfield. Nazaire Jones. We'll push and shoving afterwards. The Jones, third-round pick out of North Carolina. Another one of those young guys who's really shown a lot this preseason.
He has, and he's going to run off the field. And unfortunately, that pile came his way as well, and awfully thankful that he could get his leg out. I would think that that's it. I think Nas has shown an awful lot. You can see it. I'm okay. I'm okay. But after you've watched a teammate watch the pile come on his lower leg, he was fortunate to escape it. But once again, just the athleticism to get in the backfield. He has done it all preseason.
Manuel to the air, caught by Holton. Johnny Holton slips a tackle. Nico Thorpe had him wrapped up for a second, but couldn't bring him down. And it's another first down for the Raiders. Cassian Palacio eventually made the stop. 15 yards on the reception.
And the Seahawks give this. Why this is a little bit too much cushion, staying on that inner seam route with the eyes just a little bit long, and then Nico's going to be disappointed. He wants to make that first tackle, but they're going to make you earn it. They play patiently on defense, have done so this entire preseason. Not going to give a big play, but you got to come up and finish the tackle.
First down in Seahawk territory. Manuel zips it over the middle. Farrell Brown, the tight end. Rookie free agent out of Oregon. Both the Peters on the stop.
Speaking of another guy that's come off some pretty catastrophic injuries, Farrell was a stud very early in his career at Oregon. Had a pretty catastrophic lower leg injury that he continued to battle back from as well. The tight end position, yet another one of those offensive positions for the Raiders that is loaded. Wide receiver, running back, tight end, O-line.
John Crockett at running back now. He runs right into the pile. Going to be, looks like about a yard short of the first down marker. Garrett Smith, the one-time 49er, now with the Seahawks making the tackle.
And the Raiders are going to have to score this year in that division. They're going to have to score an awful lot. They did a year ago. They did it with a lot of takeaways. I think Derek Carr and that offense are going to have to be even better pushing into this season. Pete Carroll knows, though, that Derek's a good one. In fact, it was in this preseason game.
Yeah.
You were reminding me a few years back, preseason game where Derek put on a show.
His rookie year, 2014, it was a second-round pick. Matt Schaub was the expected starter, but he lit it up. Did Carr in the preseason, including this fourth preseason finale against Seattle. Third and short. Crockett hitting the backfield right away. Tedrick Thompson coming on the blitz, and there's a flag down after the play is over. This would be bad if it's against Seattle because they had him stopped.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 97. 15-yard penalty, first down. Marcus
Smith, the guilty party. Smith coming over after being released by the Philadelphia Eagles, another former first-round pick.
remember playing for Tony Dungy, Kurt, and going up against his defenses, and he'd give you a lot, and zone coverage and take a completion because he counted on you making a mistake. Well, if you're going to play that way defensively, you're going to play some zone, keep things in front of you, then you just cannot afford to make a mistake, especially when you were forcing it into a 4th down with a tackle for loss.
Yeah, they would have had the Raiders off the field. Instead, Oakland has it at the 19-yard line. Manuel lofting it up. Too much air underneath, incomplete. Pierre Desir right there, step for step with Johnny Holton.
You know what Pierre did? He did what McCray did earlier, which I did not think was a penalty. He is just he's using the extra man, and that's the sidelines. And once you get that initial push, and once you force that wide receiver into the boundary in that way, there's no chance. There's nowhere to throw the football. And the ability of these corners to stay over the top with their technique, and then secondly to really use, and Richard the best in the game at it, to use that boundary, to use that extra defender at the sidelines. Excellent job there by Desir.
12th play of the drive coming up. Johnny Crockett tries to cut it back, maybe a yard. Desir on the tackle there. Approaching the 2-minute warning here. Seahawks defense has kept the Raiders off the board, but this is as deep as Oakland has been all night long. It started on their own 6-yard line, and right now they're inside the 19. 2 minutes left to go here in the first half. Seahawks up 10-0 at the 2-minute warning.
Back here live at the Oakland Coliseum, the Seahawks leading the Raiders 10-0 at the 2-minute warning. Aaron Levine alongside Dave Wyman. And Dave, those feelings we felt a couple weeks ago with George Fant, your heart goes out to DeAndre Elliott tonight.
Yeah, totally. And then also, the coaches. This is exactly why they wring their hands this time of year. They want to get everybody out healthy. Great headhunter on the punt team, so that's a tremendous loss.
As for Trevon Boykin, some good, some bad. We'll take a look at that coming up at the half. But for now, let's go back up to the booth and rejoin Kurt and Brock.
All right, thanks a lot, fellas. We'll see you 2 minutes on the game clock from now. Seahawks defense trying to get one more stop here. Raiders needing to get it inside the 10-yard line for the first. Manuel throws it that way. Caught in the end zone. Touchdown, Raiders. Keon Hatcher. What a grab. 18 yards on the score with Demetrius McCray draped all over it.
Man-to-man coverage, you want to give your young guys the opportunity to show what they can do and not play in zone. And McCray's got a one-on-one press coverage. And unfortunately, just the awareness to the football, right? We talked about Trevon Boykin on the other side as a quarterback, having that overall awareness and sense of timing. And those elite DBs, those guys, they can feel the wide receiver. They look at the eyes, the body language to come back. I mean, he is step for step with him. But in order to finish, you have got to have the awareness to find the ball.
There's George DeVecchio on for the extra point, and
a well-thrown ball, by the way, with EJ there. I mean, that is, you see some of the velocity. You see why he was a first-round pick. That's put in the spot, the only spot where Hatcher could really go and make a play for it.
Best drive of the night by either team. DeVecchio adds the extra point. It's a 3-point contest with just under 2 minutes left after the 94-yard, 14-play drive that ends in a Raider touchdown. EJ Manuel throwing the first touchdown of the night for the Raiders as Oakland able to take advantage of a costly penalty on 3rd down by Marcus Smith. Raiders would have been off the field. Instead, it gave them a first down. They converted it into a touchdown.
And that came off the giveaway down there in the red zone when Trevon Boykin has an excellent drive and scrambles and zone reads and puts him inside that red zone. Like you see so often, kind of like an error on a baseball field here. You give someone an extra out, they make you pay. And when you take points off your own board and you give the ball away, so often that opponent takes advantage.
Cyril Grayson with the kick return. The former track star of LSU can't even get back to the 10-yard line on this one. Good coverage by the Raiders. So 1:50 left on the clock. Seahawks with 2 timeouts after losing 1 earlier on the challenge. And so we'll see what Trevon Boykin can do. Had an up and down night, thrown 1 touchdown pass, but also 2 picks.
And typically likes this. The pacing here in the 2-minute drill is what he did when he was a Heisman candidate there at TCU. He likes getting in that empty formation. Once again, I think Darrell Bevell giving him every opportunity to play to his strengths.
Starting at the 9. Quick pass. Amara Darboh. And a 3rd-round pick out of Michigan with his first catch.
He's got to be saying, about time. Everybody else all around me has had ample opportunities this preseason, and Amara just hasn't. They've liked the body of work on the practice field.
Picks up 10 yards in the first down with his first catch. He's really shown it in practice if you talk to the coaches. Just hasn't had an opportunity to do it in games. He will tonight. Boykin swoops. Tyrone Swoops, the tight end, who was a quarterback at the University of Texas with the grab. Hurry up offense, obviously, by Seattle. 8 yards on that play. Boykin stays in the pocket, gets it out to Darboh. Darboh gets the first down and gets out of bounds.
And what they like is smooth, 215 pounds, running 4-4, playing in a pro-style system. The routes they feel like in practice and the walkthroughs and everything, he has such an understanding, a grasp. Because a lot of it's what he did at Jim Harbaugh there at the University of Michigan, and nice to see him getting some legs underneath him, getting a few opportunities and converting.
From the 33, a handoff, Mike Davis. A couple of nifty moves. Gain of 4. Clock keeps running, however. Down inside 110, 106 and counting. Seattle still with those 2 timeouts. To the air. David Moore gets it into Seahawk territory after slipping a tackle. Stops the clock as he gets out of bounds with 48 seconds left.
That's an excellent job. Right, awareness in all sorts of different phases.
Whether 15 yards on the reception.
Whether it's a DB and man-to-man coverage, whether it's a linebacker to lay off the contact after the whistle blows, a wide receiver here, a rookie wide receiver, securing the catch, feeling the defensive back spins inside, but the awareness to get out of bounds and save those valuable timeouts.
7th rounder out of East Central Oklahoma. To the Raider 48. Underneath, Mike Davis again. Trying to get out of bounds. Didn't. Seahawks call the timeout. Well, as you said, Boykin looks more natural in this hurry-up setting.
Reaction, Kurt. You're just reacting. Right, he looks most natural in the zone read. He looks most natural scrambling. Looks most natural playing in space and the shotgun and doing all of that, and that's great. But where you need to see that evolution in those next steps is right, when you do have to think, when you do have to change the play, when you do have to change protection, when you do have to throw it away to live to play another play.
Well, he's 5 for 5 on this drive. 6 for 6, Mike Davis. Oh, he missed a chance to get out of bounds. Got the yardage for the first down, but the clock keeps moving.
Watch that. It's going to be about 12 to 14 seconds here. That move right there, not nearly as valuable as getting out of bounds would have been.
No flag on the play. Chris Humes looks like he got there a little bit early, but as I said, nothing thrown by the official, Steve Donatel, the intended receiver. So it's 2nd and 10. Boykin scrambles. Keeps his eyes downfield. He's got a man open and underthrew it. Almost intercepted again. Dexter McDonald almost had the third pick of Boykin tonight.
And Rodney's saying, man, just put a little bit more air on it. Rodney knows that he had him beat. He was 2-3 yards behind the defender there. And Boykin just full sprint to his right. If he has to do this over, there is no doubt he's putting some air and throwing it deeper down the field. Instead, trying to throw a rocket shot on the run. That is a difficult throw. You see the throw fades inside. Very easily could have been picked on what should have possibly been a touchdown.
Final seconds. Boykin scrambling. This will be the last play. And Boykin will go down. Well, those final two plays after what started out as such a nice drive by Boykin and the Seahawks offense is not the way they want this first half to be remembered.
But it's what you need to make decisions.
Well, Seahawks will go to the locker room up 10-7. Aaron and Dave for the halftime show from Oakland right after this.
Back here in Oakland, California, the moon shining bright and no longer in the path of the sun, but the Seahawks eclipsing the Raiders tonight so far, 10-7. As we're back here at the half, we take a look at the stats from the first half, and the Seahawks outgaining Oakland 218 to 128 in yardage. But Dave, it's a Pete Carroll mantra. It's all about the ball. Those two Oakland takeaways killed him.
Yeah, Pete hates the turnovers. As much as he loves the takeaways, he hates the turnovers. You see the Seahawks passing game ahead of the running game, doing actually really well in those turnovers and also out rushing them. So a lot to like there, but man, that's one thing I know is it's his pet peeve. Can't stand to take the turnovers.
Well, Trevon Boykin, 13 of 21, 166 yards, one touchdown and 2 interceptions. So what can we expect from Austin Davis in the second half?
Well, sometimes, Aaron, I like to create the perfect player by unscrewing one guy's head and putting on another guy's body. Actually,
is that possible?
No, just in my mind. But I don't want that because I like the stuff that Trevon Boykin does. It's just that he has to be more responsible. And that's the way that Austin Davis can respond in the second half, is by taking care of the football, because you don't want a guy, you want a guy that's going to be able to go out and win a game for you like Trevon Boykin, but you don't want to give the game away either, and I think that's where Austin Davis has the edge.
Well, we'll see where Austin Davis can do in the second half. For the call of the action, let's head back up to the booth and rejoin Kurt and Brock, guys.
All right, guys, you know what, Brock, that's a perfect setup. Austin Davis second half, the way Trevon Boykin played in that first half, this door is open for Davis.
Yeah, but he's got to be careful to just not say, well, I don't want to screw it up. Right? He's got to go out there and attack like he's done. He's been aggressive this preseason. He's made more plays with his legs than I ever remember him making as a Ram or the other spots that he has been. And he's got to fight, I think some of that belief with, oh, wow, the guy that I'm competing with just made mistake after mistake after mistake. You got to go out there with your own mindset. I talked to him a couple weeks ago, and he said, this is the best place I've ever been in as a football player. From the fact that I'm not worrying about anything else around me. I'm just playing my game, and we're going to get to see that really play itself out here over the final 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're expecting him to play here in probably most, if not all, the second half after Boykin played the entire first half. Finished 13 of 21, 166 yards, a touchdown, but more importantly, those 2 interceptions, and frankly, he was lucky there wasn't a third right there at the end.
And then you take the sack with 7 seconds to go. You've got a timeout. Would have just loved a little bang-bang play. Just a little hitch route, a little slant route. Call the timeout. Keep alive that opportunity to kick the long-distance field goal, and said, time runs out. No more points on the board. And I know Trevon's going to be frustrated because there's enough plays there. There's so many good plays in that first half. Right? If you chart all those plays, there are so many pluses. It's plus, it's minus, it's mental error, it's critical error. And you can put a lot of pluses together. But unfortunately, when you have critical errors, they are such massive debits on that grade sheet.
Yeah, it doesn't count 1 for 1.
No.
So ready to start the second half, Giorgio Vecchio set to kick it off. They basically give Sebastian Janikowski, who is in his 18th year, a chance to rest his leg throughout much of the preseason. So Tavecchio is the guy been here year in, year out. In the month of August, Alex Collins going to take that one for a touchback, and Seattle will start at the 25-yard line.
And you're going to see very similar plays. A streamlined game plan tonight. Coach Bevel said that before the game. Both guys are going to have a very similar operation. You'll probably see some no-huddle 2-minute for Austin in this second half at some juncture. And he watched Trevon. There's plenty of completions out there. Plenty of them. And you've just got to take them and be consistent in doing so.
So Austin Davis will take over. He was perfect last week, 5 for 5 against Kansas City, including a touchdown pass to Tanner McAvoy. Off the play fake to start here. And there are those legs you talked about that no one really suspected he had. Penalty marker down on the play as well. Will Precheck, guilty party.
You can see a little more of Ethan Posick as well. He's going to play a little center. He's going to play a little right tackle, 79. Roos, the left guard, has had a nice camp. But unfortunately, 1st and 20, got to dig yourself out of a hole right here. And this is where, as a quarterback backed up, you have just got to be very, very smart with the football.
It's backed up to the 15-yard line. Davis wisely throws that one away, incomplete. Let's go down the sideline. We're starting wide receiver who had the night off, like most of those veterans did. Doug Baldwin joined us. Thanks for joining us, Doug.
What's up, guys?
Hey, you are done with your preseason, personally, your preseason play. Assess it for us and how you think things went for you and this offense through the first 3+ games.
Well, I felt like we got off to a good start. You know, we were efficient. The first offense was. We did a good job of moving the ball up and down the field. Got some touchdowns, got some scores. We just wanted to see ourselves be that functional group again, and I thought we were able to do that.
Your counsel to so many of the young guys tonight in your position room was what?
Have fun. You know, if you forget everything about football.
There's another big catch by Casey Williams while you're talking.
As you see, you know, to further my point, you know, guys like Casey Williams, guys like Rod Smith, guys like J.D. McKissick, these guys have come in here and they've worked extremely hard, and they've shown that they are talented enough to play in this league, and they have all the tools. And last night I told them, you know, just forget all this football stuff and just have fun. Enjoy the moment, cherish these moments with these guys, because, you know, to me, honestly, we had a special room, but it was more special just because all these guys are extremely talented.
Williams picks up 36 yards on that reception. And a short run by Alex Collins as we're talking with Doug Baldwin. And Doug, can you remember being in this spot as a rookie?
I do. I was kind of thrown in the fire a little bit earlier because we had guys that were injured, but I just remember being so happy and so thrilled with an opportunity to play football at the highest level. You know, and obviously not a lot of guys get to do this and to fulfill their dream. And so I know all these guys feel the same way. They're just truly blessed and thankful to have this opportunity.
You guys get enough work throughout the course of the preseason and games and everything to hit your rhythm in Green Bay?
I think so. You know, again, like I said, I thought we did pretty efficiently when we were out there on the field. But we've also had great practices and done a great job of pushing ourselves along the way, even in practice.
Okay, second best hands and second best route runner in that room, because I know who number one is. So second best pair of hands and maybe the second best route runner.
Oh, man. If I'm being honest, I think the best hands in the room might be Darius Rogers, number one for us. He's extremely talented when it comes to catching the football. Best routes, I might have to give to Kenny Lawler. Kenny Lawler is probably it's probably not the crispest all the time, the crispiest routes all the time, but he's extremely smart in creating separation. So that goes a long way as well, running the route.
I'll tell you what, that quarterback was pretty smart right there. I mean, and this is some of what we've talked about, right? You walk that line, Doug, when you're a young player trying to make your mark. Trevon made so many great plays, but how can you have fun and make all those great plays, yet also make the smart play? How do you walk that line?
You still got to do right. You still got to do right. And that's what our preparation addresses. You know, you got to be in the playbook. You got to study. You got to know what we're doing. And you know it so well that when you get out here on the game field, it's just second nature to you. And you don't have to think. You don't have to make stuff up. You just play football. So there's a fine line to it, but that's what separates guys who stay in this league and guys who don't.
Alex Collins just did a nice job of staying with it, picking up 9 yards. We appreciate you taking the time, Doug.
Absolutely, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Stay healthy during the regular season.
Thank you.
You watch him that whole interview looking at the big screen?
Yeah. He hasn't missed a play.
No, he doesn't want to. I mean, he wants to see all these guys go out and execute, and the group has. After that first down holding call, putting them behind the chains, effective with the mix of the run and the pass. Austin very heady, throwing on time, throwing the ball away.
And we've seen a couple times where he had nothing, he just threw it away. Wisely. Needing a yard. Oh, that didn't work out. Collins stopped in the backfield. Darius Latham catches it before he can even get back to the line of scrimmage. So Blair Walsh will come on to try his second field goal of the night. Had one in the first quarter.
This is from shortstop.
Going to keep those baseball markings out there. This is deep short. 49-yard attempt. And it's not good. So Walsh misses for just the second time in 11 kicks this preseason. What is the dog days of the preseason? Is that what they call it? Still a three-point contest. Do you think these fans have good seats? You can be a part of the action at CenturyLink Field, watching the Seahawks from the field. A limited number of field seats are still available for purchase. Just visit Seahawks.com/tickets for more information. You sit there right on the field and watch football, Seahawks football. It's not a bad opportunity. That's not a bad place to watch the game. That's what Cam and KJ have done all night long. 27 of the 90 Seahawks on the roster is not playing at all tonight. Here's a quick pass. Connor Cook. A collision. Pierre Desir, Tedrick Thompson, and they just pop Keon Hatcher. There's going to be a helmet-to-helmet call on one of them.
I think this is going to be the crown of that helmet.
Personal foul. Defense number 33. Hit on a defenseless receiver. 15-yard penalty. First down.
That's on Tedrick Thompson, the rookie.
Well, this is tough. Defenseless. Free safety's job is to separate wide receiver from ball, and he's trying to go down. He's not his aiming point, and guys that hit for a living. And Paul Moyer on our show and Dave Wyman, you're going to tell you, I know Dave's going to talk about this in the post game. That is a bang-bang instantaneous play. He's trying to lower his strike zone to make sure he doesn't hit the head, but when the receiver goes down and he's got to separate the receiver from the ball, it's tough duty.
The irony is that Hatcher caught that on the first chance. He probably wouldn't have been a flag. It would have been a reception. Ball would have been the same spot, but not a penalty. George Atkinson picks up a yard.
But I also think that those back judges, you know, they look for tells. And when you lower your head and you hit with the crown of your helmet and your helmet comes down, it's one of the areas that they're instructed. And you never, you know, a football player too, you want your eyes up. You're always taught that. There's nothing good that's going to come from hitting with the crown of your helmet. So try to keep the eyes up and do the best you can to ultimately separate that receiver from the reception. Just
inside the 45. Connor Cook. Lost that one out there for Atkinson. Shea Palacio wrestles him out of bounds. Flagged out as well. Looks like he got enough yardage for the first down, but let's see what the marker's all about.
Personal foul. Defense number 91. Unnecessary late hit. 15 yards added to the end of the play. First down.
That's called on Cassius Marsh.
Yeah, and that is just, you've seen a couple of these with Cassius in the preseason. They're going to give the benefit of the doubt to the quarterback. I mean, if it is a bang-bang play and an opportunity, but once the ball is out of his hands, just not going to get that second step to go deliver that blow.
So a 9-yard reception, you tack on 15 yards on the penalty, and suddenly the ball's at the 20-yard line.
Well, you combine that in the first half with the roughing after the play on the third down where you had him stop. Now the helmet-to-helmet defenseless receiver, now the roughing the passer, and they start to really add up that real estate.
Raiders call the timeout.
The Raiders with 4 first downs by penalty tonight.
Timeout. Oakland, their first 30-second timeout.
There's a look at Jack Del Rio. Talked so much about how he's brought pride back to this Oakland Raider team.
It's amazing when you look at some of the numbers, though. And typically, when you're last in the league in yards per play, and you're last in sacks, and you're last in some of these critical numbers, to go 12-4, I mean, a remarkable turnaround in year. And it speaks to the quarterback, the amount of offensive firepower they had, the takeaways that were so critical to it. Just a monster year that unfortunately the quarterback could not finish with the injury.
George Atkinson bouncing it outside. Flags down again. This one looks like it's going against Oakland.
Holding offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Chauncey Biggs, he was working against David Bass, who's had a good night rushing.
And you're out on that edge in the open field. It is for everyone to see. And the tug of the jersey, pretty simple there.
There's actually a Tedrick Thompson there. Well, maybe they got multiples because that's 68. Ian Silberman holding Tedrick Thompson. So they decided, hey, we got 2 guys, let's choose 64.
Good look at Mike Tyser, the offensive line coach as well.
One of the best in the league.
His veteran offensive lineman over there trying to put it all together.
Here comes the blitz. Cook sees it, gets it up. Can't quite get it out there. Intended for KJ Brett. Nico Thorpe with it.
More man-to-man coverage. Not expect a lot of that here in the second half. Right, this is a time for your young DBs. This is resume tape for everybody, really on both sides. Wide receivers, can you win one-on-ones? That's your job to do it. Chris Richard, can you trust your technique? Can you stay within the scheme and everything they like to do fundamentally? You get your best judgment of that playing that press man-to-man coverage you see again.
Draw play, Atkinson with room. Fights his way to the 16-yard line. Nice run of 14. Delano Hill with a stop.
And that's a pretty good call. That's actually what we call two-man, Kurt. And on long distance where you're expecting pass, you play that coverage with 2 deep safeties. Not a lot of numbers in the box. You see it, a hat on a hat for Oakland. The right call at the right time. And sets up pretty critical in the red zone here, 3rd and 6.
Raiders need to get it to the 10-yard line for first down. Key 3rd down. Seahawks try to hold on to the lead. Cook. Incomplete. Intended for a Holton. Pierre Desir right there. Ball got on him. I think he surprised himself. He realized he was that close to a pick.
Remember in LA we were talking about Pierre almost. Just almost making that play. Just almost putting yourself in position there to take it the other way from 90 and a touchdown. The slant route, it's a pressure look. He knows, he's played enough football to know the route combinations that could be coming. He runs the route. And he does everything but unfortunately just finish there, and he's going to kick himself. But he does force Raiders off the field in the field goal attempt.
34-yard field goal attempt from Tavecchio. It's only the third field goal the Raiders have attempted all preseason. They've made two, both by Tavecchio, and that one good enough to tie the score. Well, a quarter and a half to go in regulation in this preseason finale. Well, once again, we've all seen the devastation in Southeast Texas. And you can donate and help out. Just pick up your phone, dial Harvey to 90999. Just text it to that number. You can donate automatically $10 to the American Red Cross Hurricane Harvey Relief. And earlier tonight, Michael Bennett announced that he, who's from that area, is donating $25,000. The Seahawks are doubling that and adding another $50,000 to it. If you want to go online to BennettFoundation.org, you can add to that total as well. We've seen so many good things from people all around the nation about that. But how about J.J. Watt? Oh, he goes online right away. First goal was to raise $200,000, then $500,000. It's now over $12 million in donations.
So the opportunity these players have, the platform and the reach. And what I love about Michael Bennett, what I love about J.J. Watt is they walk it. They're just not talking it. They go out and they live it. And because of it, people want to respond and be a part of it.
Seahawks start at the 25-yard line. Mike Davis. Nice run around the edge. Davis picks up the first down. Good game on the play. Give him 16 yards.
And a really nice job by the left tackle, Matt Tobin there. We've not talked a lot about him. He was traded for from Philadelphia. He's right on the end. And you see those guys often use their hands or get out leveraged. That whole play, that outside stretch zone, it starts on the edge with the tight ends or the tackles in that case, Tobin. Giving Mike Davis ample opportunity. Like Chris Carson told us yesterday, I'm watching the edge of that line of scrimmage. Davis had to love what Tobin set up for him.
First down, Davis goes the other way. Turns sideways. Picks up about 5 yards on that one. And Davis is another guy.
Runs hard.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, every running back in that room runs hard, it seems like. It's just a matter of size. Former San Francisco 49er. Pete Carroll told us with his ability, he's the kind of guy who, with all the injuries they had last year in particular, would have been able to start for them. He thinks he's that good. He's just mired in a numbers game right now.
Play action pass area of the field.
Handoff taken by Davis. Breaks initial contact. Picks up 3. Maybe 2 yards by the time they spot it, so it'll be 3rd and 3. We'll see what Seattle can do on 3rd down here. 2 for 7 so far tonight.
Empty man-to-man. Pick your matchup that you like.
Davis. Flushed out of the pocket. Still looking downfield. First down, Tyrone swoops. And the former quarterback, making his name as a tight end right now, moves the chains.
Empty formation. Decent enough job in the interior of that offensive line, giving Austin the opportunity to create. You know, we've talked about this. Austin and Trevon is phenomenal at scrambling. Russell's the best in the business. But Austin Davis has showed, I think, everybody this preseason, he is not just a pocket passer. It's got to sit between the tackles.
7 yards and a first down. Into Raider territory. Blitz picked up. Davis, arm hit as he was throwing that one in the direction of David Moore. Falls incomplete.
Yeah, it was Darius Latham a year ago, or 2 years ago. I remember him very vividly. He was an undrafted free agent, number 75, big fella, right in the middle of that Oakland defensive line that, like Derek Carr that we highlighted earlier, really took advantage of these preseason games. And he had the big stop on the third down run, and that time he and his compadres up front bury Austin into the dirt.
It's funny to see all the red dirt on the uniforms. Alex Collins with the run. Just to the other side of second base. 5 yards on the play. Collins is a kid who showed up a lot lighter than he was last year, a lot faster than he was last year. But there appears to be a lot more competition than there was last year running back as well. He hops out. McKissick comes in and spreads out wide to the right. Davis on third down. Going for McKissick, overthrew him, incomplete. Good coverage there by the Raiders' Dexter McDonald.
You can see Austin shaking that right arm just a little bit. You mentioned earlier he got hit. He got hit a few times on that drive. And on this one as well. That stings. I mean, that can really sting. You can break a finger quite easily in that case. Hitting the helmet, or at time the outstretched arm of the defensive player impeding that throw. Very well covered though by Oakland. Not much space and separation there from McKissick.
John Ryan's second punt of the night. Keon Hatcher makes the fair catch. Ryan does exactly what you want him to do. Get it high, get it deep. Seahawks football is presented by Washington's Lottery. Play Seahawks Fever Scratch from Washington's Lottery. Catch the best fever this season. Go to WALottery.com for details. Tie ball game. 4:40 left to go here in the third quarter. This last game of the preseason. Connor Cook trying to get the Raiders their first win of the preseason. Seahawks trying to finish it 4-0. Ball tip. KJ Brent still caught it.
Yeah, that's really well thrown. We saw EJ throw a touchdown pass on that back shoulder that was in the seam. This is on the fade route. Well covered there by Desir. He's doing his job of staying on top. And then the last phase of that, and I'll say it once, I'll say it 100 times, where Richard Sherman is so skilled in this, and why quarterbacks like Connor are scared to throw that against Richard, is he has a feel and he has an awareness, right, to know when that is coming on that back shoulder. And the younger DB is still trying to get there.
18 yards to the 28. A little breathing room for the Raiders. Cook. Almost picked off. Went right through the hands of George Atkinson. And a couple of Seahawks had a chance to take that one back to the house. Desir was the first one that had hit him right in the hands.
Yeah, and you can see right there, I just didn't even see it, he says. I think this is a predetermined here by Connor. His eyes never come off the running back. Once again, outside the frame. That one's going to be a little bit more difficult than the slant that he jumped earlier.
Here's Cook on second down. Quick pass out to Brent. Desir on the coverage there.
Tell you who's fun to watch as well, and so many of the throws are going to the perimeter, but Delano Hill inside. A nice job by Desir there, but Delano is mixing it up. And I like what Brian Schneider said to us yesterday. He said he has become really good in that special teams phase as well. And he too is matched up in many of these man-to-man situations, this time in a too deep look defensively, but he is aggressive.
Another third-round pick out of Michigan, the big hitter he's been known as. It's Cook. Gets that one out to Atkinson. big gain before he gets out of bounds. Delano Hill finally brought him down or forced him out after a 24-yard pickup.
I mentioned that too deep with man-to-man coverage underneath, and it was a draw earlier for 16 yards. It's tough. That's a difficult numbers game, and so is little running backs on linebackers. And when those safeties are deep, you really can isolate those linebackers underneath. That's exactly what they did with Rodney Butler there. And chest match a couple times against that coverage. Advantage Oakland.
Here's George Atkinson through a hole. Tedrick Thompson stops him, but another big pickup by the Raiders. 15, pardon me.
Yeah, we've seen some of Atkinson's patience grow here. And that is a cutback, and you can see number 99 there, Quentin Jefferson, that backside responsibility there. Small, shifty, yet powerful Atkinson finds the lane, cuts it right through the backside of that containment and leverage from Jefferson.
Ball's at the Seahawk 33. Atkinson gets around Nico Thorpe. Thorpe catches up and forces him out of bounds, but a good cut by Atkinson. 4 more yards on that run. Cook under center. Hands it off. John Crockett trying to fight his way through traffic. Doesn't get anywhere. Rodney Coe just wrestles him down to the ground.
I think I can guess what coverage you're not going to see on this third down. I don't think you're going to see that too deep with man underneath coverage. I think Chris Richard has said, you beat me on the draw. You beat me with a little running back on a linebacker, a little mismatch. Maybe time here on 3rd and 6 as he's looking at the personnel of Oakland coming onto the field. He's looking at the huddle as he makes his defensive calls.
3rd season calling the defense.
It may be time to heat them up, try to force them out of that field goal range if you can with a negative play.
They get a first down at the 23. Here comes the blitz. Cook read it. Incomplete. KJ Brent being pushed out by Nico Thorpe. There's another flag down.
Pass interference. Defense number 23. Automatic first down.
Thorpe call for the interference.
We saw McCray earlier with the penalty and pushing the receiver out of bounds, and well, that is just tough when the receiver runs himself largely out of bounds here, and there is just no room to catch the ball. He's out of bounds. If he's the first one to touch it, you could argue maybe he was pushed or forced out. But I have seen a whole lot worse and a lot more contact in the regular season not called for a penalty.
5th first down by penalty for the Raiders. And then no flag on that one. Mike Morgan got there, looked like a step early, but no yellow hanky on that one. Pass intended for Johnny Holton.
And I know that is a difficult call, and I know there are things that those back judges are taught to see in some of their tells, and if you arm bar and you push that receiver and you impede that receiver. But I also know from the position I played, Pete knows as a former secondary coach, when that receiver runs to the boundary and he is out of bounds, there is almost no margin to make a play back on the football.
George Atkinson through a hole again inside the 10. Diving, touchdown Raiders. Now there is a penalty marker on the field, but the Raiders are already in celebration mode.
Offense number 68. 10-yard penalty, 3-play first down.
And they can stop celebrating. Ian Silberman called for a hold, so this will come back.
It was right in the middle of that pit. Once again, Quentin Jefferson on the backside of that containment, very similar to that last run. And that time, umpire, referee, they see that jersey tugged. Those are, again, the tells in that split second in the moment. The hands just outside the framework, the jersey tug, going to draw the penalty. What a big one it was for Oakland.
Takes a touchdown off the board, at least temporarily. Here's Cook. Underneath, John Crockett. Right into the arms of both of Peters.
Pretty good intensity. If you were wondering, Kurt, you and I have called a bunch of these now, these fourth preseason games, and you're wondering, did the non-cut down help? Do you feel a little bit more intensity of the guys out on that field right now that are fighting? Because I get the sense that maybe it's a tight game here, 10-10. Both these coaches, programs certainly want to win. Oakland wants to win, get their first preseason. Seahawks want to finish it unblemished. But I, one can say, the guys out there on the field, you're feeling some of their urgency.
A lot more guys playing with a chance to make either this roster or somewhere else. Rosters have to be cut by Saturday to 53 from 90. Along the sideline, did he make the catch? Keon Hatcher went up. They say he couldn't stay in bounds. Nice job with the hands. Just couldn't get the feet down. And here's another look at it. He caught the ball, so just watch his feet. There you can see that heel out of bounds right there.
If you want to call early contact.
And so the Raiders are challenging. Well, again, it looks like from our replays, it's a pretty simple decision. But the referees see the Oakland television feed, which are not always the same cameras that we have. And we saw one that looked like it should have gone the Seahawks' way earlier. This one did go the Seahawks' way with the initial call, but it's under review. Clay Martin's ready with the call. Was he in or out?
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver's second foot came down out of bounds. It'll be fourth down. Oakland will be charged one timeout. Please set the play clock to 10 seconds.
I think you could argue his first foot was out of bounds.
I think I'd argue the Oakland fans making a lot more noise than I remember in years past.
That's because they have a lot more belief than they've had in years past. Winning 12 games and despite losing your quarterback at the end of the season, having hope will do it for you. So here's a 36-yard attempt from Tavecchio, who's already had one go through tonight, but not this time. And so we stay tied. 10-10 with 10 seconds left in the third quarter. Well, you can get the authentic look with an official Seahawks jersey from the Pro Shop. Choose from a wide selection of players or customize your own jersey and make it one of a kind. Shop online anytime, anywhere at Seahawks.com/Pro Shop or at one of 4 Puget Sound locations anytime you want. Raider Nation mixing with Seahawk Nation. You gotta like that hairdo.
Strong.
Is that back to school? Is that the back to school look?
It's washed out after Labor Day. First day of school, that's clean.
Here's Austin Davis still in the quarterback. With time, going deep. Overthrows Cason Williams. Time for one more play.
I like the thought there. You come out on first down. Pretty good protection. Cason has been so good in those jump ball situations.
Second and 10 from the 26.
And he's saying put just a little bit more air on it. Pete too, probably. And you even saw Austin afterwards say, yeah, probably held that a little long, threw it flatter than I would have liked to. Cason, a beautiful catch and run. Another big plays. Have big plays in every preseason game here for the Seahawks.
Most likely the final play of the third quarter. Davis with time, flushed out of the pocket. Flag down. Intended for Tanner McAvoy, and trying to throw across his body on the road run. Couldn't quite get it there, but multiple flags now on the field. There's a guy who's earned his money tonight, Clay Martin.
Holding, defense number 56. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down. We will mark off the penalty to start the fourth quarter. This is the end of the third quarter.
Well, hopefully one more quarter to go. It's all tied at 10. Last game of the preseason, Seahawks and Raiders. Seahawks football is brought to you by Home Street Bank. There's no place like Home Street Bank. That's the new Bay Bridge connecting San Francisco and Oakland.
Wasn't moving that fast this morning when I was on it.
Well, the traffic around here ever moves fast. Final quarter of the preseason, barring overtime. J.D. McKissick spins his way out for a pickup of 3, maybe 4 yards. And if you're just tuning in, you go, well, I saw the other games, he's wearing number 14. He switched to number 37 because he's more of a running back now than a wide receiver. But a guy who can do a little bit of everything. Three-yard gain makes it 2nd and 7. McKissick got his feet tangled up. You see the young man of Arkansas State was with the Atlanta Falcons. And they released him on waivers, came over and spent time in the practice squad with the Seahawks last year. Now trying to make the regular roster in the way he's performed in the preseason, certainly making his case. He's in the backfield with Davis out of the shotgun. To McKissick. One-on-one, falls forward. Going to be right at that first down marker. We'll see where they spot it. Looks like he got it.
And that's all JD. And that's totally indicative of what you have seen either in training camp practices, in the special teams phase. His punt return game tonight was aces. 10 yards, 14 yards, foot in the ground. That time just knowing where he has to get to, has to beat his guy in one-on-one situation in space, and he does just that.
First down, McKissick cuts it back. Keeps those feet churning. Good run of 7 yards by McKissick. Breon Borders with the stop.
And there's just some guys that have that grasp. And you've been around them, Kurt, and you see young players, and they just, and whether it's the program they come from collegiately, whether it was just playing ball growing up, a high school coach, right, just understanding the bigger picture. What Doug Baldwin said, just knowing it inside and out so you could be free to go out there and play.
Gets it again, stops in the backfield and can't get restarted. Jihad Ward got him right by the jersey, maybe a little more. Little hair action in there, but it was after he was down already. Remember, that hair is legal. You can tackle a guy by the hair. Darius Rogers in motion. Davis. Darbo. First down. That's what the Seahawks wanted to see out of the rookie Amara Darboh.
That's exactly it. You know what? Casey Williams had a third down just like that earlier in the preseason. It was at home, in fact, against Minnesota. And he just wasn't quite able to use his frame and his body. And that is why scouts love 220 pounds. That's why they love bigger frame guys, because in a situation like that, you shield the defender from coming through you. It was a big-time play, utilizing the strength and the body to make the play.
Davis again to the air. A little too wide for David Moore. You know, but it's interesting because you've been around the Seahawks team a long time, so have I, in the preseason. And for so many years, they were looking for a big-bodied wide receiver, and they brought in Terrell Owens. I mean, they just brought up Mike Williams, the other Mike Williams. It's like they just tried to find a guy.
Sidney Rice.
And now there's a couple of them on the roster.
Yeah, I think the same number as Sidney, and that's one right there, 210 pounds, a 7-foot high jumper, because Pete Carroll knows he's a secondary guy. Perfect coverage, really difficult to do when the guy's bigger, stronger, and faster than you.
Here's McKissick.
You can put yourself in position. You can be right there to make the play. And yet that receiver that is just stronger, Michael Irvin, right? And so many times guys cover him up, but just to have the arm length or the body control or the strength and utilize that body is such an advantage. Think of the best receivers in this game. Like the A.J. Greens and the Calvin Johnson for so many years. Des Bryant down in Dallas. And you can see what Cason's done this preseason. Phenomenal.
They need someone to come up big on third down. Davis under pressure as McKissick couldn't pick up the blitz. Detroit Lewis, linebacker, came hot around the edge and got the sack.
And Austin's frustrated. He knows points. He wants points, and to finish these drives, there's been good first downs, and that's a little miscommunication right there. And that's left tackle, and you'll see Tobin kind of take a little peek at McKissick. You can't be in between. Right, if you're going to chip, you're going to chip, and you're going to help me. But if you're in between, you actually get and you impede my ability to block that defender, and it frustrates everybody.
John Ryan with the punt to Keon Hatcher. Another fair catch. 36 yards, but he gets it inside the 20, so Ryan does his job yet again. We're still tied. Inside 10 minutes remaining. Raiders and Seahawks tied at 10, and joining us right now is Seahawk linebacker KJ Wright. Coming off, we ran the interview on the pregame show, KJ, coming off his first Pro Bowl appearance now. Here we are, August 31st. You're getting ready for the regular season to start. You feel like you're at the place you need to be to make it 2 Pro Bowls?
We're definitely going to make it 2 Pro Bowls. It's been a great training camp, great preseason. Bobby Wagner's about to come here and mess with me real quick, but I'm going to ignore him. But yeah, we're going to have another great season, great team, defense. It's going to be a fun one.
What have you seen from the young guys tonight, KJ?
Young guys having fun out here, man. My guy, Cache Palacio, I knew he was about to do that. And I knew he was about to do that too. And Palacio's looking really good. Pierre Desser's looking good. Nas is looking great as well. And so, man, these dudes.
So that's Cliff Averill messing with you now.
Hey, I'm catching all of them. Hey, we live, fellas. Cut it out. Cut it out. Please cut it out.
Ooh, where are those hands during the game? You get a couple of picks there.
Hey, they throwing shots at me. Let's keep going, fellas. We live, bro. Everybody watching.
Is Cliff trying to get camera time? Is that what's going on?
Cliff, you said you want camera time. No, he walked away.
All right, that's okay. We want to keep talking to you. Give me your assessment of where this defense stands right here. I mean, because from the outside, that close to another pick here tonight.
Was that Pierre again?
That was Rodney Butler that time.
Okay.
But overall, the way the defense has played during the preseason.
Defense has been good. As you saw, we're not giving up touchdowns, as you can tell. And we out there getting turnovers. Got 2 early in the game. This dude is so funny, man. This
That's still Averill?
This Bobby, right?
Bobby Wagner now.
And man, we're having a good time out there. So I'm excited to see how we go out there for the rest of the season. We're trying to aim for #1 once again.
KJ, how do you walk the line between being so disciplined and patient within your scheme and these teams that just like to nickel and dime and take everything underneath, yet you always want to be aggressive? How do you balance that?
You done? Bobby's still right. I didn't even hear your question.
I think you're distracted there on the sideline.
Yeah. Let's just let's schedule this for next week, all right? Okay. I'm sorry about that. I have the immature teammates. Sorry about that.
We love you, man.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining.
I'm sorry. Blame Bobby. Put the camera on Bobby right there. Put the camera on Bobby. Bobby!
Oh, tell him, yeah, don't be shy now.
Immature, man. He's so immature. I knew it was about to happen.
You know what? That's good parenting, KJ. We'll let you go.
Look at him.
Not guilty at all, is he? Thanks a lot, KJ. Go back and pay him back. This team has fun, don't they? They really. When you're winning, you can do that. When you're playing good football, you can do that. Here's E.J. Manuel. Tossed down the sideline. And the pass is caught. There's a flag down in the backfield as well.
That's going to be, I think, a roughing penalty yet again.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 51. High contact to the head. 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Mike Morgan.
Quarterbacks are treated differently. You know, they are, whether you like it or not, they're the most important asset in this league. You have to have them. And this is training for how it is going to be called. Anytime you make contact with the helmet of a quarterback like that, now that receiver, is he defenseless, right? One step after his route with a safety that's bearing down to try to separate the football, that's one thing. A quarterback who's in the act of throwing there, and you take a shot and you come anywhere near the head, you're going to draw that penalty.
Ball's now at the 41-yard line. John Crockett bouncing around a tackler and gains 10 more. Rodney Coe chased him down.
And that's now 6 first downs by penalty.
Yes.
I mean, that's going to be the teaching point. And we saw that the week before. You know, a couple roughing penalties. We saw it against Minnesota. I mean, those are the things, and that's some of the line that you walk. You know, Pete urges these guys to play so physical and to really let it go and to let loose.
Is that the price you pay for aggression?
You know what? They won a Super Bowl and they were pretty highly penalized. And you've seen the Baltimore Ravens win a Super Bowl and they were pretty highly penalized. But it's the 15-yard varieties that can be such a killer for you.
Here's Crockett. Dancing around some more. Greg Nohouse in there on the stop, along with Garrison Smith. Brings up 2nd and 6. Well, this Seahawks defense, since the first quarter of that first game, they've allowed just 2 touchdowns in the last 14 quarters. No matter who's in there, I think Chris Richard would be happy with the way they're playing. Here's Crockett again. Nowhere to run, but he gets outside. Finds running room and the block downfield. Tedrick Thompson finally stopped him. But a good run by Crockett after initially looked like he was bottled up. He gets 25 yards.
Well, I think you've said that about a half dozen times here in the second half, and that's going to be the coaching point for the Seahawks. Their initial fit's pretty good, but you're going to see, unfortunately, there, Otha Peters just loses total vision and total containment. And it's been Atkinson, it's been Crockett, it's been their patience, and whether to cut back or in that case to go outside and to bounce it. You'll hear defensive coaches say that all the time. It's our fits. We're setting that edge. You know, it's that initial fundamental play. But then throughout the course of it, and especially when you've got patient backs, Kurt, well, you've got to keep your leverage. You got to keep your containment. And Chris knows that better than anybody.
Down to the 18. Manuel under center. John Crockett again. Runs it right up the middle. Right into the arms of Jeremy Liggins.
He starts to come into play here now. We're starting to see some hands on hips. You know, a lot of these backups have not played this kind of ball throughout the course of the preseason. Starters played into the third quarter. And lots of different guys. Maybe the second string played a majority of the second and third quarters. And a lot of the guys on the field now, they played 2.5 quarters and not just a fourth quarter mop-up duty.
And it's almost 80 degrees still here tonight in Oakland. Here's Crockett. Inside the 10. And another first down.
This just smells of Mike Tice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier one of the really good offensive line coaches, the former Seahawks tight end. In the heyday of the Kingdom when it was rocking, he was a really good blocking tight end. And the starters for these Raiders, they're right there with the Dallas Cowboys, of a team that love to enforce their will in the run game. And this has been nothing but run, run, run for the Raiders on this drive.
So they actually stopped a yard short of the first, 3rd and 1. Initial contact made in the backfield. Both of Peters gets in there. Brings up the 4th. They lose a yard on that one.
I think KJ Wright, by the way, trending on Twitter, his ability to juggle.
Pretty impressive.
He'd had enough. Chris Richard's had enough, I think, of some of that fundamental containment as well. Yeah, he doesn't want guys making stuff up. I love that. He wants guys to just stick to your fundamentals. You try to do things outside that framework, you get the defense in trouble.
Here's Tavecchio, 28 yards out. Second field goal of the night, breaks the tie. Thank goodness. Seahawks football is presented by Washington's Lottery and Seahawks Fever Scratch. You can win 50 grand or 2018 season tickets for 2. Just go to WALottery.com for details. 3:46 left on the clock. Seahawks down by a field goal, and this is what they like to call an opportunity.
Sure is.
Mr. Davis.
It's an important little kickoff return here. You know, you don't want to be a hero here. So many times you see guys in these moments try to take it out and back yourself up. The worst thing you can do, if it's not clean, take a knee. A whole lot easier to start at the 25 than inside your own 20.
Alex Collins, the guy who will have to make that decision.
There we go.
Takes a knee, and so they'll start at the 25. We'll see what Davis and the Seahawks can do. Can they come back and tie it or win it? Final minutes of this last preseason game, and if you've noticed, the number 96 on the helmets of the Seahawks, it will be there all season long in honor of the late, great Cortez Kennedy, the Hall of Fame lineman. Passed away back in May at the young age of 48. Ferocious player on the field, but one of the nicest guys off the field.
So kind. Happened the opportunity to play with Cortez for a couple years, and as sweet and as kind and as gentle a giant as you're going to find.
So the Seahawks will honor him all season long with that 96 sticker on the helmet. Here's Austin Davis trying to lead the comeback here in the final minutes, running the hurry-up offense. 6 yards on first down. Davis to the air. Darius Rogers shows the hands and makes the catch. Didn't Doug Baldwin tell us earlier he might have the best hands on the team?
He sure did, and I bet Doug's thinking just that right now as you see a bloodied Austin Davis taking a beating tonight. But he stands in there and puts it in a perfect spot. The Seahawks like that concept. They like to switch the vertical routes there. And you see not a ton of separation, but once again, a big body guy that trusts his phenomenal hands.
His first catch of the preseason, good for 25 yards. And here's Alex Collins running it on first down.
How good was that? I mean, that just shows, I think the best hands are the strongest hands. In a situation like that, through contact, to have the grips to bring that in. Well done.
Rogers, a rookie free agent out of USC, 6'1", 218 pounds. Stretched it all out on that catch. Second down, Collins missed the block, and Davis goes down for the sack. Shalik Calhoun gets it.
Yeah, and that unfortunately is some miscommunication right there. For the offensive line, we saw it earlier with the running back on that chip, right, where unfortunately McKissick got in the way of Tobin and allowed the pass rush to come. That time, right guard, right tackle, running back, they all squeeze into that inside protection, and you see the frustration there. Because you actually saw Davis go to the line of scrimmage, try to clean it up. But unfortunately for Austin and the Seahawks, the sack puts him behind the chains.
2-minute warning.
Seahawks football has been brought to you by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Back here in Oakland, California, the Seahawks trailing the Raiders 13-10 with 2 minutes left in the preseason. Aaron Levine with Dave Wyman. You have to think, in John Schneider's mind, the wheels are already turning for the decisions he's going to have to make in the next 2 days.
Hey, and the backup quarterback position may come down to these plays that we're about to see right now.
We'll send it back up to the booth. We'll have post-game reaction in just a minute.
All right, Austin Davis to Tyrone Swoops. Swoops down right at that first down marker. And you'd assume with 3 timeouts left and inside 2 minutes, doesn't matter. They're going for it whether it's 4th down or 1st down. And they get the first.
What a great play by Swoops. North and south.
Davis with those timeouts able to get things lined up like he wants. Quick snap. Tanner McAvoy.
Well, that is a tough catch. He made look pretty easy. And then, unlike Mike Davis at the end of that first half, the awareness to get out of bounds. I mean, this is not easy. When you're 6'6", as Tanner is, former quarterback, safety, did everything at Wisconsin. Talked about Darius Rogers and Doug bragging about him and his hands. We saw it earlier. That is a phenomenal catch and an even better job being aware to get out of bounds.
And another of those big Seahawks receivers, 6'6". Raiders showing blitz.
Really good job by Austin to get to the protection.
From the shotgun. Here it comes. Davis gets it out, throws it too high, but there's a flag down on the play as well. McAvoy, the intended receiver.
Pass interference. Defense number 36. Automatic first down.
That's on Chris Humes.
Corner out there by Tanner, and it's that tug. It's that jersey being pulled. It's that initial contact, and then as we tug on that jersey in space, that back judge is going to make that call. 10 out of 10. This is everything you want if you're Austin Davis. The ball in your hands, the opportunity to make the game-winning plays.
Here he goes towards the end zone. Caught. Kenny Lawler. Touchdown Seahawks.
Good for you, man. Good for you, Austin. 5 different NFL teams. You're going to have to fight an uphill battle here. We'll see what decisions are going to be made. You've gotten the stuff beaten out of you through the second half. That throw is just in front of the safety. Allows Lawler to use his big body. That's awesome. And that's exactly what you want. A 75-yard drive when it matters. Making protection calls. And even though there's busts, and even though he's getting hits, does not panic, does not flinch. Really well done.
Blair Walsh makes it a 4-point game. 17-13. Austin Davis 5 for 5 and the touchdown on that drive.
Felt like he was in the best place he's ever been as a football player. He may have wanted that a yard in front of Kenny Lawler, but because of the time, and look at Pete Carroll fist pumping, he loves it. Just really felt like for the first time in Austin's career, he wasn't looking around, he wasn't counting numbers, he wasn't worried about anybody else. He just wanted the opportunity to play in this system. He said, you know, he's been other places where they've had fun, but it's not been competitive. He's been other places where it's been so highly competitive, it's sucked the joy and the fun out of the game. So this is the first time, especially at the professional level, that he's been able to witness what fun and competitive, and whether it's the fun of juggling footballs, right? Whether it's fun of cheering for one another on the sidelines when they make plays. but also highly competitive. Go get it done when it mattered.
In his 8th year. Started 8 games for the Rams back in 2014. Also with the Browns, the Broncos, and now getting an opportunity to win that backup job to Russell Wilson, and really in command on that drive.
Changing protections. I'm getting hit. And oftentimes you see quarterbacks get hit, right? But when you've been in the league as long as you have and been around it, been on teams, Kurt, you get hit in the back, you dust yourself up, you get back up, and you keep slinging it.
Seahawks had to call a timeout. They didn't have enough guys on the field.
They were dancing over there. The defense getting ready to go. What do you want? He knew what he wanted. He knew right away that there was no pressure, not going to be a blitz look. And Lawler, he's another guy. I mean, practice squad a year ago, totally transformed his body. He's caught another touchdown in the first preseason game. And tell Davis the 4th preseason game doesn't mean anything. Go ahead.
As impressive as anything on that drive, you mentioned it, was his command when he saw the blitz coming, the change to protections. He took a couple of hits and got sacked and bounced back up and kept it going, didn't miss a pass, and it just seemed to be in control from the beginning of that drive to the end. Yep. And sometimes it's the intangibles that coaches look for, not just the completion percentage and touchdown passes. You got to make those, but you got to do the other things right as well.
I'll tell you what else was cool right there was who was sitting next to him on the bench. It was Trevon Boykin. Boykin was over there happy for his success. It was Boykin's success last year in Kansas City on drives like that and moments like that where he really took advantage of his opportunities. And it's not going to be an easy call. Darius Rogers got the whole thing started with as good a catch as you're going to see in the preseason. Not going to be an easy call for John and Pete of what they're going to do here at this position because you've got 2 very different quarterbacks with very different skill sets. And that's been on full display this evening.
So the Raiders, with 1 timeout left and 1:06 on the clock, will try to get a touchdown drive to win this game. Cook. Out of the backfield is John Crockett. Good open field tackle made by Rodney Butler. Inside a minute.
And you will give up 7 yards for 15, 20 seconds every single time in these situations.
Cook from the shotgun. Under pressure. Ball bounces around. KJ Brett had it hit him in the hands and rolled everywhere. Nico Thorpe there on the coverage along with Oath Peters.
But isn't it amazing, even on that first down snap, the difference between the 10-yard line and the 25? When the Seahawks start at the 25, they get the 1 go route, the big play, they move it down the field. And when you start at your 10-yard line, the numbers are pretty clear. When you start inside your 20, the percentages, how difficult it is to make this march.
Cook. Quick pass. And the ball is caught. Good enough for the first down. Keon Hatcher with the reception. 6 yards on the play to the 25.
And too much time.
Here's Cook. Ball comes out. Looks like Cook recovered, but it was Mike Morgan getting in there to separate him from the football to begin with. Down to the final 12 seconds. It's Chris Richard hoping his defense can hold for just a little bit longer.
That's a really good rush by Mike Morgan.
Oakland uses its final timeout.
All about the ball, man. 59 minutes and 45 seconds. Doesn't matter. The final 50, give me the ball. All about the ball. Which again will make this quarterback situation and conversation, even tougher. And I'm sure it starts on the plane ride home, along with a lot of other decisions. That decision in that room. Casey Williams, another good night. Kenny Lawler, all he's done is caught touchdowns this preseason.
Rosters have to be cut from 90, where it is tonight, down to 53 by 1 o'clock Pacific time on Saturday. Here's Cook. Caught by KJ Brent, gets out of bounds with 10 seconds left. So every team in the league has to cut roughly 37 players. Some teams have cut a couple guys here and there, but for the most part, there's going to be about 1,200 people who are on an NFL roster tonight who won't be Saturday afternoon. And 10 days from now, the regular season begins for the Seahawks. as they visit the Green Bay Packers. Here's Cook. Brent intercepted into the hands of Otha Peters. And that'll do it.
The 4-0 preseason will end with the greatest play there is for any offensive player in the book, and that's going to be the victory formation. We've seen the ball bounce around any number of different times, and Pierre Desir once again right on the spot. He tips it to his buddy Otha Peters. Been multiple opportunities. There was a fumble, I think, taken away from him earlier in this game. But just the way you want to end it defensively, taking the ball away, and then this snap and formation with the victory O, as good as it gets.
We talked earlier about how important winning is to Pete. Doesn't matter whether it's the preseason or not. He goes to 22-10 in his 8 seasons as Seahawks head coach in the preseason, finishing 4-0 for the 3rd time. The last time, they went on to win the Super Bowl.
Not a bad time. Kurt, appreciate it, man. Had a blast once again.
Always great. Have a great season over at ESPN.
You too.
So the Seahawks get the win. Austin Davis with the game-winning drive. 75 yards, throwing the touchdown to Kenny Lawler, and Seattle wins it 17-13 to wrap up the preseason.
That's going to be a very busy man, John.